Let's see. All right, Adam, how's it going, my man?
It's good. How are you?
Oh, dear Lord, man. Let me say, first of all, thank you very, very much for taking the time today. How sick, man. I am so excited to dig into this shit, man. This is awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for having me. Hopefully
Absolutely. All right. So here on Grown On You Live, what we're gonna do, we're gonna kind of bring it back a little bit to earlier in the day, being younger, kind of interest in music and whatnot. Go through some of your career as far as in music there, and then I have one finale that I wrote just for this episode here, and we're gonna kind of to dig through different things, as far as different acts and things that you've done throughout the years as well. So starting out here, I wanted to ask you about as a young man, what bands, albums, or songs resonated with you, possibly even starting your interest in music?
I have to say, like, Counting Crows, August and Everything After was huge in wanting to make me, like, start to write. I remember I had the cassette tape, and I was, like, laying in bed, like, listening, reading the lyrics. And then I was a dorky little kid, so I saw the singer's name was Adam, and I was like, oh, that's so cool. And right then I was like, I'm going to start writing music. And there was a lot of, like, radio stuff, because my folks didn't listen to a ton of music, so I would basically rely on the radio. So, I still love, like, Third Eye Blind. Just, like, a lot, Radiohead was a big one. And then as I got older, kind of like the end of high school, I really got into, like, more heavy stuff, post-hardcore, Blood Brothers, Botch, These Arms Are Snakes. So, yeah. It kind of went from, like suburban Ohio radio pop to the rowdy stuff. But like I said, I still love Radiohead and Third Eye Blind. So, yeah.
Yeah, totally. Where did the introduction of the heavier stuff come into play as far as, was it buddies? Was it just something that you kind of stumbled on at a local music shop? How'd that happen?
I think it was buddies mostly. Like, I remember David, even when we were in like a pop punk phase, David always listened to like Zayo, and there was just a few bands that started getting sprinkled in, and our music. I mean, I still love pop punk, but we kind of like just kept going, like gradually going towards the heavy stuff. So, and
sure, okay.
I still like, when I have to open the brewery I work at, if no one's there, I just blast like Blood Brothers while I'm mopping and stuff. I can't keep it on when But yeah.
That's like, I mean, that's one of those bands that is so make or break. Like, if you want to just like take a room and completely fucking see how you're going to divide like a musical interest, you blast that band and it's like, you're either cool with me or we're going to have some other conversations about some shit.
Yeah, it drives some people up the wall. Definitely not something you can play at a business when you're open.
Right, I love that. That's awesome. What about as far as your first album that you ended up picking up, whether it was like a cassette or a CD, something that you bought with your own money? What comes to mind?
It was that Counting Crows record.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, got you.
And my first tattoo is it's not gonna be able to see it, but it's the opening lyrics to that record.
Oh, damn. Okay. Nice. And what was that something too where after that, like everything that came out you had to pick up, or was that kind of like just that album was special?
Just that album mostly. I love that one in Recovering the Satellites, and then after that they kind of lost me, but I don't even let myself listen to August and Everything After unless I'm having like a really hard day. Like, I like to bust it out when it's like, because it's so special to me, I don't ever want to get sick of it. And it's been what?
Oh, yeah.
It's been like 20 years. No, sorry, almost 30 years since that came out. So,
shit. Yeah. Okay. You got to take it in waves. You got to, be patient with it and, not absolutely listen to it thousands of times right off the bat. And you're like, fuck, I can never hear these songs again.
I definitely have a few songs like that. Like, they always put on the same station at my brewery, and I'm like, if I hear Self-Esteem by The Offspring one more goddamn time, I'm allowed to cuss, right?
Absolutely, yeah, totally.
And I love that record, but I'm like, Jesus, can we switch up the music? And then I'll put on the national on shuffle, and everyone's always like, "Man, you like sad music?" And I'm like, "Well, yeah, I like happy music." But
Yeah, yeah. You have the rock and roll regular radio station. It's the same couple of tracks. It's like, you're pushing me into this shit. I need to
yeah,
listen to something sad now because you're bumming me the fuck
yeah.
out.
Now I'm
Yeah.
depressed.
Yeah, nice. As far as yourself being a concert goer and going to shows even early on, what's something that comes to mind as far as going to a show for a specific band and maybe an opener, opening act or another act that you weren't familiar with, being introduced to them?
Oh, I have a good one. Go lie down. Go lie down. I cannot remember who was headlining. I feel like it was like Pennywise or something. But the opening band was called Oscar, and they were getting booed, and they did this thing where it was just a three-piece. They would like spit on each other from across the stage, and I just thought it was so cool. And I was like, nobody liked them, but my friends and I were like, hell yeah, let's get their album. And I still love that first album of theirs. But I just thought it was so cool. They were spitting on each other. And I didn't get anything from whoever the headliner was either. I got their stuff. So that was a big one. Because I think they were the first band, and there was like 4 bands. And I was just like, these guys are badass.
Okay. And I mean, I asked that too because it's cool a lot of times if you make a show and you see different bands, like it's such a fun time to, like experience those bands too. Because a lot of times it's almost like a college football type thing where they're out there busting their fucking chops just to, like, if anything, try to, catch some attention if it's not, maybe the music off guard, offhand that's catching you. But yeah, that's sick. I love that answer. That's sweet. I've never heard of that band. Was that like a Ohio or like a Colorado band?
They were a touring act. We saw them in Colorado in high school, and I don't think they ever got very big, but like I said, I still love that album. I think they only put out 2 records. But yeah, and then shortly after that is when we started spitting on each other at our shows. I think my mom cried once when she came to a show and we were spitting on each other.
Oh man, you're like, I don't know how much lower it gets than my mom coming and crying at my show. I guess I can keep trying.
She didn't like us kicking each other, or like I threw my guitar at Dave a couple of times. She was not a fan of that.
The time that I only got to see you guys once, but something that still today sticks with me is old Flava Dave, rubbing his hands and feeling the warmth of the crowd. Dude, yeah. I fucking still to this day love that. If I were a vocalist in a band, I would probably do the same thing. Just ripping it off and completely giving credit. Yeah. Love it.
He was such a good front man and just like so weird and like all over the place, but I loved it. I miss it, to be honest. But yeah, he was the hook mouth thing he always did, and like standing on his, like getting up, what do you call it, a handstand on his light box, and just being all around weird. Like, it fit for what we were doing.
Right. Yeah, I love that. So as far as your interest in music transitioning into playing yourself and getting into like whether it's playing guitar or whatnot, tell us about getting your first instrument and how that came about.
So I didn't know you could own an electric guitar if you weren't already a known band. Like, I was so naive, like, because I was terrible at sports, and that's what got me into music, because I went to a Catholic school where it's sports, and I sucked at every single one. And so I was like, I want to play music after I started getting into it. And my cousin never played his guitar, so my mom bought it for me. And I took apart a chain, like a dog leash, because I wanted to be cool, and I turned it into a strap. And then for 6 months, all I ever did, I didn't know how to tune it, anything, was turn on, like, put in my CDs and just, like, jump around to, like, Our Lady Peace and, like, Green Day. I mean, this was when I was 12, probably. And then finally, my mom got me a lesson, and basically all I learned from it was how to tune a guitar, and then how to do power chords. And then I just stopped taking lessons, and he taught me how to learn by ear, and that's how I learned, really. It took a couple lessons, and then it was that.
Oh shit. Okay.
Yeah.
As far as like with the lessons thing too, was that something like that? I like digging into with. Was that like a positive experience, or was that an experience where you're sitting here and it's like, I want to play this and this, a Green Day, and they're like, well, let's learn Mary Had a Little Lamb first. It's like, I want to do that.
There was a little bit of that, but I guess I just picked up on it fast. I guess everywhere I sucked at all the sports went to this side, and like, because at the end of every lesson, he'd let me bring in a song, and like, he would teach me how to play it, by like, he'd show me what you're listening for and how to find it. And that's really like how I learned. I remember I had binders and binders too of like tabs that I would print out from online once the internet started being a thing. I wasted all my parents' ink cartridges. And then I moved, and I had no friends because I moved from Ohio right before freshman year. So I bought like a mic and like an amp that was like this big, and I was alone all the time. So I just learned these songs and sing and pretend like I was at a concert. I remember I had left my window open a couple times, hoping someone would walk by in my room and like want to be my friend and start a band. So yeah.
I laugh just because I've been in lots of these same situations. So it's not out of like laughing at you, but laughing with you because I'm like, fuck, I have been there. It's like I say, I learned playing drums by playing on my bed. All I had was drumsticks, and I just like learned by playing on my fucking mattress and pillows. So it was like kind of one of these things where playing along with shit. So hearing these things, that's fucking awesome. I love that. What was something that you had to take some time to learn? As far as like the first couple of times you're trying to play through, and it's like, I'm gonna have to have a little bit with this.
Yeah, like Third Eye Blind and Radiohead were two, because Third Eye Blind has a lot of weird tunings, and people don't give them enough credit for how interesting some of their songs are put together. And then Radiohead, I mean, geez Louise, like, I had the actual books. I even, when we were touring with Fear before, like, went back to relearn some stuff, and I had like Kid A guitar book, OK Computer. I think I had In Rainbows at one point. But yeah, that stuff, I mean, those guys are crazy. So that definitely takes time, and I still don't think I nailed it.
Well, close enough, I guess, for my liking. Shit. Nice. So continuing on with that, I wanted to dig into things as far as like first of all, your first band. So finally catching on to some dudes that are into playing or into the idea. Bring us back to that time, and maybe first like jam writing sessions. How'd that go?
Oh, I'm sure we were great. No. Gosh, it was a long time ago. I think it was sophomore year. I finally got a couple dudes to play with, and we were bad. And then I didn't really have close friends. And to this day, my best buddy, his sister and my little sister were in gymnastics, and we were having like a Thanksgiving party or some holiday stuff, and my mom invited his little sister and their folks, and his mom forced him to come over because I didn't have any friends. And then we were just kind of sitting in my room, which is in the basement, and I'm like, don't know what to do, so I like show him my guitar, and he's like, oh, what can you play? And it's like, I don't know. And I don't know what I played. But then he's like, try and learn this song. And he put on Millencolin, and then I think a Blink-182 song. And the next day he asked his mom for a bass for Christmas. So then he started being in that band, and eventually we moved on to new people. and we started getting good. Like, we were a pop punk band. We won like Battle of the Bands.
Oh shit.
Yeah, like, you know, we didn't tour in that band, but we put out an album. And then we got tired of doing pop punk jumps, so we started writing more aggressive stuff. I was tired of bleaching my hair all the time. That's why I don't have any anymore. But yeah,
shit.
we did that for high school, and then like right after high school, we were like, you know what? I just want to do something different. I want to do something a little more rowdy, and so we brought Dave in, and I was like, Dave, I know this is like one day, I was like, because he was always hanging out with us, always in our friend group, but he wasn't in the band. And I was like, Dave, can you scream? And he's like, yeah. And I was like, want to be in the band now? So that was how Fear Before started.
Oh shit! No kidding.
Yeah.
Wow. So he was a buddy that was always kind of with you too. And well, let me trace back. This was someone who ended up in Fear Before then. That was in this first band that kind of developed into pop punk and everything. Who was that?
So Mike and I, the one that got forced to come over, and
okay, shit.
Eventually Brandon, and then Chugger was in our pop punk band, and he was on Odd How People Shake, but he left after we went to jail in Texas because he didn't want to do it anymore. And so yeah, it was all dudes from a pop punk band that turned in. We added Dave, and it turned into Fear Before. And then for a while we were just a 4-piece, and then it was during Mouth that we got Binks on guitar, and then after that Brandon left and we got Goose. So but yeah, it's always been myself and Dave. So yeah.
Okay. So as far as, you know, you mentioned, and this is just something I'm pulling from personal experience, you mentioned, you know, doing like a battle of bands and winning and shit, you know, and just kind of like in a sense at the time being like on top of the world. Do you remember playing some shows after that where you go and all of a sudden you just wind up at a small venue and no one gives a fuck and you're like, man, what happened?
Yeah. Definitely.
Dude, it's like, shit, what a bummer. You know, what happened to all these fucking people who just voted for me that I rule? Shit.
Yeah. No, definitely. Even in Fear Before, too, like, that happened quite a few times. And you're just like, the fuck? Wait, guys, remember us? Guys, hey. Like
right. That's funny. So as far as within playing guitar, where came into the picture as far as like pedals and different ways to kind of contort the sound of playing?
So I couldn't stand pedals. To this day,
I'm hearing you say that.
I'm not a huge fan.
Yeah.
And I remember I had this one delay pedal, and I used that, and we were on tour with Anatomy of a Ghost, who, you know, two of them went on to do Portugal the Man. And their guitarist, oh my God, Joe had a pedal board that was like, and I'm like, I had my little delay, and I didn't even have it like on anything, so it just flopped around. I don't think I even had a tuner. And I was like, Joe came up to me one day, he's like, dude, you gotta get into pedals. Don't you want to try some pedals? I was like, no, I don't want to play soccer when I'm on stage. Like, but then eventually I came down.
Oh my God.
To this day, the only two that I really, really like are my delay and my octave pedal. And I use them. I've had them forever, and I use them like all over the Fear Before stuff. But even Art Damage, I think I used delay, and then I discovered what an EBO was. And then the producer like busted out a few of his just to make some weird sounds on parts. But yeah, I've never been a huge fan of pedals. I feel like they're just so annoying. Like, one little thing goes out, and then you're like, which one is it? Check all of those. And, yeah.
Right.
I got one of those loop stations once, and I was just like, no, I don't like this thing.
Okay. All right. Where came in as far as like when you guys were playing Mouth and you were playing self-titled stuff and some of the programming? How did that come in? Were you doing some of the stuff as far as for live setting?
Yeah, I'm trying to think. Oh, I know how I started in that. So Tim from Under Oath showed me how to do GarageBand when I got my first computer, and it was after Art Damage.
Mm-hmm.
So I learned how to like program drums, program piano, record my guitar in. But then I started getting more like creative, and so like I started like to distort things weird, and like for example, that song, what's it called, 10 Seconds in LA, all
Oh
that,
yeah.
like those drums, like that quack, quack, I just did that in GarageBand. I started to learn how to make weird noises, and then I discovered what Reason was, and that's where stuff got really like programmy, synths, and then I learned how to put single guitar notes into a drum station and manipulate them. You'll hear more of that in like All Human. But yeah, so it started just getting a computer and learning how to program drums and stuff. And then I was like, well, that's when Mouth came in. I'm like, we're going to do some weird stuff on this one. This is not going to be Art Damage Part 2. So.
Okay. And I guess, from videos that I've seen and then from the time that I saw, like my remembrance too, was I was thinking that you had a bunch of fucking pedals out there just because of the sounds that were coming out, along with the programming, not necessarily that was absolutely, like everything, but it just, it sounded bigger than life, and then for the fact that, I mean, that's pretty fucking impressive that you didn't really have a whole lot going on other than your instrument and your fucking amp and, the talent going into playing shit.
Yeah, I mean, we definitely had to run some stuff on, like, tracks, the really weird, obscure noises, and Goose would play to headphones. Well, then Binks was the pedal wizard. He knew how to just make exactly what sound was in his head. But yeah, and there was a few tours I played keys on some songs, but we were already such a pain in the ass to host at any venue. So we had like all those lights, and then we had like a light guy, and so I wasn't gonna have like a 3-tier sound station while I'm playing, So
Yeah, right.
we just had to make it work. But
Okay, all right. Mentioning traveling or touring, bring us back to the first time setting up for going out of state, playing a show, or even first time touring. What was the experience? Did you forget to pack socks or underwear, or how did that all work?
I remember
Were you prepared?
I remember one day, it was our first or second tour, and Dave left his whole duffel bag and didn't realize it till we were like out of state, like, so he had to like borrow and buy cheap clothes and just wear what he had. And then it was our first or second tour, I think. One of the early ones, that's where we went to jail in Texas for trespassing, which I had to call my dad and be like, Dad, I don't think I need my Jeep anymore because I can use the band van and we're going to be on tour a lot. But in truth, I had no money, and bail was like $311, I think. So I had my dad sell my truck, and when I got home, he's like, hey, Adam, I need you to come in here for a minute. We got to talk about something. And I was like, talk about something? Because I didn't tell him what happened. And I got the total, like, I'm not mad, I'm disappointed talk, because lawyers from Texas have been sending all these letters while I was gone. So they totally outed me. To this day, I don't know if some of the other guys' parents know about it. But yeah, I'm not mad, I'm just disappointed.
Did like the bail bondsmen come up? How the fuck did they come up with $311? Like, were they really big into the song "Come Original," or how did that happen? Jesus Christ!
I don't remember. I just remember the insurmountable amount of money to us at the time. Yeah, we were so small.
That sucks.
Yeah, it was such a big amount. I think we just barely had enough between merch and then one of the other guys' wallet. But yeah. Oh, he was not happy with me.
Damn. I mean, at least it gave a good inspiration for a song. You had Fear Before
Yeah.
versus the State of Texas, shit.
Yeah,
I never knew that whole story. Shit, so that's sick. Wow, all coming together.
That place that we trespassed on, the haunted insane asylum, as the locals told us, burnt down a few years later after that State of Texas song was released. So.
Oh no shit.
Yeah.
Well, I guess there's that shit.
We won.
Yeah. Nice. Well, at least a positive outcome. Shit, that's that ruled. So I wanted to dig into, starting with Fear Before here, just as far as so we've kind of talked a little bit about, origins and Dave coming into the band and coming to, but as far as conversations of first starting and maybe the earlier first songs that you remember making the foundation of the band.
One of the earliest ones was one that haunts me to this day. On the Bright Side She Could Choke, and everyone liked that song. I mean, it's probably what helped us get like our first record deal and stuff. But to this day, I'm just like, oh my god, that song, because that was you could definitely hear the poppy influence in it from the band we were doing before.
Sure.
And I was just like. And if we were smart, we would have done a video for that one. But by the time Odd How People Shape was done, I already just hated that song. That one and, God, it's so hard to even remember some of the titles. Given to Dreams were like two of the first we wrote. I think they were both on our first EP. I think. Maybe not. I can't remember. That was now 20 years ago. Maybe 19.
A while back, yeah.
Yeah. But those were definitely the first ones.
Okay. I have to mention too, I'm trying to think of, because I was trying to think now, speaking on title tracks too, the correlation between Sarah Goldfarb. It was one or the other where I think I just watched the movie or it was the first time listening to the album and I'm like, holy shit, they're talking about Sarah Goldfarb. Like I went back and I'm like, okay, I automatically have to go back and look at this and try to listen deeper into the lyrics, because I'm like, oh, what the fuck? Oh, I don't know. It was just it was always cool to see kind of little things like that. There were Easter eggs of other kind of polar interests of other things like movies or TV shows or shit, so that was a memory earlier, with that album for sure. What was a favorite song of yours? I know that you mentioned the one that you weren't too huge on, which I honestly I dig. Record? Yeah.
I'll try to even think of what's on there. I probably should have dug out my CDs. I remember I think my favorite was the one, was it called 20th Century Was Entirely Mine.
Oh, yeah.
I loved playing that song. And then one we didn't play very often, was a Motel Room Grand Piano or something, where I go on my
song fucking rules.
Squeaky voice rant because I couldn't scream yet. But yeah, those were probably my two. Yeah.
Okay. Mentioning that too, as far as, developing your vocal style, where did it go from kind of your earlier stage into, kind of, was it Mouth where it kind of ended up going into more of a full on scream and almost angrier sound? Or maybe even there was some Art Damage.
I just got better at it. Cause when we did Art Damage, it still wasn't there and people seemed to like it, but not the engineer.
Yeah, totally.
He did not like it. He was yelling at me, and I can't remember if he called me a pussy or Dave a pussy. But by Mouth, I finally just kind of got it a little more controlled, and I don't know. Maybe I didn't go through puberty till I was 22 or something. But I got into being able to do that singing into a yell too around then, which I used probably too much, but yeah.
That's unreal. I mean, you're sitting here paying a dude to do a job and he's fucking straight hating on you. Like, all right, man, fuck you. I'll bring my business elsewhere. Shit.
Yeah. I mean, he helped us make an album I really like, but oh man, was he'd get yeah.
Touche. Oh man. All right. So just as far as getting into Art Damage, what do you remember as far as with this album here? I'm not gonna, because you have the interview with Casey, so listening to that and discovering that podcast, if anybody's watching this and hasn't seen it, there's a video on YouTube. I don't know if he put it up or who did, but it was with you and Dave, and was so sick, because I mean, Always Open Mouth is one of my favorite albums, honestly, ever. And being able to hear some of this shit, from the background, just as far as like stories and stripped down tracks, fucking so cool. I love that. So this was kind of my inspiration as far as digging into some of this, and with Art Damage and On How People Shake. But I know it's been a long time, so
yeah,
I can certainly bear with you as far as maybe a track that comes to mind that you like playing live, or some of the writing for the album.
I love playing Drowning the Old Hag. That was always my favorite. Because that's when I started to really experiment with weird tunings too. Mm-hmm. And I remember when I wrote that main riff, like the heavy part, the kind of after the intro, and it was so simple, but I was like, this rips, and then I put the octave on it, and I was like, oh my god, this is heavy as balls. I love playing that one live. It's just, and like the album, like, as an album opener, it's just like, yeah, that's one of my favorites.
Totally.
I always loved playing off Art Damage, Hey Kid, I'm a Computer.
Okay.
Stop All the Downloads, because that was just another that starts off and people are just like,
yeah. Right.
On the softer side, I loved playing Complete and Utter Confusion.
Oh yeah.
This is like such a nice little concise, basically like 2-part song, and when that riff comes in, again, the octave, just like burning, I was like, yeah. I felt made me feel like a man.
Okay. All right. With that album too, I remember getting through, like listening to the album and like obviously, being into it, completely digging it, but I think it was Law of Averages where it was like, whoa, I need to go back and really fucking pay attention to like what else is going on here. But that track still today, I fucking love that song.
That was one we played almost every tour. I loved playing that one too.
Yeah, for sure. Okay.
Just
like, I was gonna say, don't say you don't like it. God damn it.
No. There's only a couple songs I don't really like, but there's like a handful that I didn't like playing live, And there was ones Dave didn't like because they were just like throat rippers, Right. But no, there's only a handful of songs, and I'm sure that one where we talked about the poppy, whiny, I'm gonna kill your girlfriend song. It's probably an okay song. I'm just like, eh.
It is. Yeah. No, I understand with the experience, and I kind of say, mentioning earlier with 30 seconds, the days of MySpace, I got to tell you, probably for the majority of my MySpace days, that was my MySpace song. 30 seconds in LA, dude. Holy fuck. I couldn't, it was between that and Deftones. I don't know, for whatever reason, but that track, man, was always fucking on there. I love that. Mouth. And then A Gift for Fiction, which that was one listening to that podcast, and you were kind of mentioning not being, not hating it, but, like not being huge on it. I'm like, fuck, that song is so good.
I'm trying to think which one that is.
I'm trying. Let me think how it start.
Is that the fast one, and then at the very end, it's like,
yeah.
I like
starts
that
off
song.
Faster. Yeah.
I love playing that one live just for the ending alone. Just because it's octave again. Yeah.
Right. So in that podcast, one thing that was mentioned was a Fear Before Bible. Dave mentioned something about this. Is that a thing?
I don't know what he.
I'm gonna have to message him maybe, because I think it was like maybe in reference to lyrics or riffs of some sort, or like ideas like for inspiration for songs. And he's a shiesty bastard, so maybe he was just goofing around and I'm fucking wasting time on something that doesn't exist.
I'm like, so when I write, actually I wasn't as good about it back then, but now I have probably 20 binders for one record, you know, because I write down everything and then I don't remember what any of it meant. I'm so bad at organization, but Fear Before Bible, I don't know. That's weird. I'm trying to wrap my brain. Maybe he was referring to his lyric book. I don't know.
That would be fucking sick if that's the case. Yeah. All right. I'll have to see about getting him on. I mean, he seems like always a good time as well too. But that was one thing I heard, and I'm like, I have to ask what the fuck that is. If that's like some sort of like, well, we'll leave it at that. I can dig it. What about Fear Before? So this is the most recent and up most recent and last record that we have currently as far as from Fear Before. What can you tell us about maybe initial songs or initial riffs that made this bad boy?
Well, it was super different because now it was Goose and Binks. And Binks was helping write, and Goose was helping write. It was a lot of me and Goose. It was a lot of me on my computer again. And of course, we didn't want to make the same thing. We just always, it was like our mantra, don't make the same album twice. And that's when I got into really weird tunings. Like today, if you asked me, because I wasn't as good about writing everything out, if you asked me what some of those songs are tuned to, there's no way. Because I would just sit there and change strings till like 3 strings played something cool together. Or like I started dropping my lowest string to A on a couple songs. That one was so weird. But I think I vividly remember when we wrote Tycho, which is one of my favorites on there.
Yeah.
I think Mike was at work, and maybe it was, just Dave, Goose, Binks, and I. We were like, just couldn't wait for him to get home from work, because we're all living together. I show him that song, and I was like, it was super Deftones-y, I thought. And I was like, Mike, you gotta hear this, dude.
I see that. Yeah, okay.
I don't think that one was in that weird of a tuning. I think it was standard with the low string to C. And then, again, in that little riffy part, octave. I love my freaking octave. Are you seeing a pattern here?
What was it like as far as playing those songs live then, as far, with all these fucking tunings being so wild? Was it something that you still had like fresh memory or like maybe just it written down?
There's a big reason we always had and loops that I made. But sometimes it's because I didn't have enough guitars to like switch out, because I only had a few guitars. So I'd be like, back then I would have known the tuning and exactly what to go to, but I just had to be fast so I'm not getting looks from the rest of the band, Like, hurry up, Rupert.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Yeah, I mean that's and I'm trying to say. So when I saw you guys, it was with Heavy Heavy Lolo and Poison the Well.
Oh, okay.
Would that have been the headliner? I'm trying to think of what year that would have fucking been in. If you guys had that album.
Was on half of that too. They were.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh man, I mean, not to hate on Poison the Well, they're fine, but that would have been sick to see Portugal the Man too.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Yeah, this was back when they were not huge yet. I think we even played after them, maybe. But yeah, that I actually thought of that tour when we were talking about On the Bright Side, because like I said, people always call that out, and I'm just like. And when we toured with Poison the Well, I was a huge fan, and they just put out Versions, which was a great album. And every show, there's people yelling, nerdy, nerdy. And I'm like, guys, they've had like 4 albums since then. Like, they're going to play it. Don't you know they're going to play it? Like,
yeah, right.
But that's like triggered that memory when we were talking about On the Bright Side. So like,
Yeah.
have you and listen to the new one? I was like, it's so good. Like that.
Yeah, I mean, even today, I have different friends that, like, or my wife, for instance. I sit here and I talk to her. I'm like, man, this new album, you have to check this out. You have to listen to, and I'll like, like pull up her station, like on, like she'll be listening to what's recent, whatever, and it'll be like I don't know, some fucking 90s R&B singer, and I'm like, God damn. Or like, Third Eye Blind or Matchbox 20, which is fine, that's cool, but it's like, there's some great shit today still, like, what is happening, it just one song off of the first album from a band, like you have to check out the stuff that's further past. Right. I totally agree. With Fear Before, lastly, I wanted to dig into as far as you guys appearing on the Masters of Horror soundtrack with the song 237, and what you can tell us about that song and how it came about to be on the soundtrack.
I don't really know. I don't remember. I think it was just something like our label worked out, and at the time, I honestly wasn't. Now I'm like this diehard horror fan, and if someone asked me to be on that today, I'd be like over the moon. Especially like ours was featured in an episode directed by Toby Hooper, who did Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and now like I would be.
Oh wait, it was in that
house. He directed one of the episodes.
Yeah.
The one our song
what one is it? I'm trying to think.
Dance of the Dead. And it's got Jonathan Tucker.
Yeah.
And Robert
okay.
in it. Yeah.
Yeah. Holy shit! I didn't know that it was actually in the movie too. Wow. Okay.
Yeah, it's in the credits. Yeah. So now I'm like, that's the coolest thing in the world. But like I didn't watch horror movies growing up. I was a pussy. I was too scared. And now it's like all I watch. Like I have subscriptions to Showtime, Stars, HBO, Hulu, and Netflix, and I swear there's like we'll be trying to pick a movie, and I'm like, seen this, like we watch horror all the time now. So even in the middle of the night when I can't sleep, which is probably really bad for your dreams, but you can't see them, but I've got like an 18-inch Patrick Bateman over here, my Jaws wall, my Evil Dead tin. Of course, Batman stuff.
Damn.
I got Jay, Candyman figurine for Christmas. So yeah, dorks.
That rules. That rules. All right, awesome. So that being, something more recent, as far as kind of, or not more recent, but like something, recently with your interest in horror. How about, did you have times as far as, being a little bit younger, going to like a local video shop, like a rental or anything, and seeing certain things like, based on like cover art at all, or even poster art? Have you chosen some things based on that?
Yeah, I mean, I remember being really young and going to look at like the Puppet Master VHSs, being like scared to look at them, because I was like so creeped out. And the Child's Play. What is there, that one cover where it's like a Jack in the Box with a spring and Chucky's holding the sisters? I was like, that looks so, like I was scared of just the covers when I was younger. And I was too scared to watch Tremors. I don't know what really changed it. Because I went from legit being scared. I think Scream was a big one for me. Because I watched that. And it was just my friend and I, and this was probably 7th grade, and we were in my parents' basement, lights off, of course, and then the power went out in our whole neighborhood, and it was right where he's about to stab this girl and put her in she's trying to get out the garage, and he rolls her up, but it's right when he's behind the door, and as soon as the door opens and it reveals him, all the power went out, and we were too scared to stay in the house, so we went and walked around the neighborhood for a while. Yeah.
Oh my God.
I started liking, I think that's when I started really diving into some horror.
Damn. Okay. So within the movies that you have watched and the things that you've seen, even maybe even in or out of horror, what would you say are 3 scenes in films that, you know, have been forever ingrained in your brain, whether they're, you know, shocking, gross, disgusting, or, you know, just unexplainably unforgettable? What's something that comes to mind?
Definitely number 1 would be when Quint gets eaten by Jaws. Like the boat's going down and he slides in. That movie scared the shit out of me as a kid. I wouldn't shower for a little while. I thought Jaws was going to come out. No lie. Then maybe the iconic scene from American Psycho where he's like chasing her and he's naked and he's got the chainsaw and he just like drops it down the stairwell. And then 3.
So wild.
I know there's probably The Thing, when that dude's on the table and his stomach opens and bites the guy's arm off and the head. I love that movie. That's where I think my like real, because I love like body horror, you know, and practical effects. I love practical effects, so that's probably where I really got obsessed with horror. Yeah, probably those 3.
All right. Well, has there been anything that you've seen, or has there been anything that you've watched or started, maybe even online, you know, where it ended up being something that's kind of pushed things too far, and you're like, I'm not. This is not out of my my zone of interest.
Yeah. I think I watched it once, but I was drunk, so I was like very desensitized and not paying attention, because I tried to watch it again, and it was that what's it called? The Green Inferno by Eli Roth.
Oof. Yeah.
Have you seen that?
Yeah.
That scene where they put the dude down, like on the bigger dude, and just like where they spoon his eyes out and cut off his limbs. And I was just like, I never turn off movies. Like I could finish a bad movie, and I was like, that was too disturbing for me. So yeah, I can't do that one. I was like, that's just like. And the dude kind of didn't know what was going on because they like drank him something, and he seemed like a nice guy. And I was just like, oh my God. So I didn't finish that one. But I'm usually not like, I can watch anything. I can watch bodies explode, heads explode. I just watched something where like everybody's head was exploding, and I was like, cool. But for some reason, that one just, ugh. Like I
mean, even mentioning, you know, Jaws, like with old Quint, like that scene enough is disturbing. But I think something that always stuck in my mind is that like blood curdling, you know, when he's like screaming out and the shit's coming out and it's all in his throat, and it's like, that was just as bad, you know, if not worse to me than what it was, you know, like him getting fucking swallowed by this giant shark. I mean, like it's.
Can you see it behind my head? Whoops. The orca.
Oh damn! Yeah. Is that like a NECA?
I don't know. My friends got it for me once. It's amazing though.
That is awesome. Damn, that rules. Shit. Very cool. Yeah, that scene there.
Yeah. So good.
What about, you know, you mentioned as far as like not being able to take a shower from Jaws and things, and that being, you know, possibly even like a irrational fear. Do you have anything else that comes to mind as far as seeing something that's like, this is ridiculous, why the fuck am I scared of this? You know, anything come to mind?
Yeah, I'm literally not making this up. It was a couple weeks ago. I was leaving work, and it was late at night, and I parked behind the brewery. So I'm going out in the dark, and I swear to you, I'd been watching too many horror movies, which is literally always the case. But for some reason, I must have watched multiple ones where people get their Achilles sliced, like Urban Legend and the new Pet Cemetery, and I literally walked up to my truck slowly and was like peering under to make sure no one was under there. Just that one night, for some reason, I was just like freaked out. Yeah, but any Achilles tendon shit always gets me. And eyeball stuff. Yeah, eyeball stuff. Whew. What did
I don't know what it is. For whatever reason, the remake of, have you ever seen Let Me In? It's the remake of Let the Right One In.
It's been a while.
The cat laying down in the back of the car has.
I don't remember that.
Oh, dude, I think a girl goes to like a gas station or a convenience store or something, and trying to think of what the hell his name
Oh,
is.
you mean by cat? You mean a dude?
The guy, yeah.
Oh, I thought you said.
Yeah.
I thought you meant a literal cat. I don't remember that.
No, sorry, no. He's like the older gentleman that's in the movie, and he gets in the car and he's laying down, and it like pans down, and it just shows him like kind of covered, and then waiting to like jump out and end up killing her. Man, there's so many times I'm driving down the road and just looking at, or Urban Legend, for instance, just look in your mirror and it's like, pretty sure I just fucking saw something. I might need to stop really quick.
Oh yeah.
That is funny. Somebody mentioned, what if I did see someone? I would not be fucking excited at all. I would not be happy. Or like another movie which creates something of a real rational fear. Have you ever seen the movie Backcountry?
I think I just watched. No, maybe I watched Bats.
Bats is a good one too. It's been a long time since I've seen that, but it's I think it's got Eric Balfour, who he was in the remake of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and it's him and his girl, and they're out. I think he's going to be in proposing or something, and he's trying to be Billy Badass and fucking act like he knows where he's going. They get lost in the middle of the woods, and they're on like a black bear's trail, or like a Kodiak bear's trail, and the outcome is not good. I'm not gonna ruin it, but it's rough. Especially practical effects, it's bad as fuck. I mean,
I'll have to look for that.
Backcountry. Watch it. Maybe buy a compass afterwards. Just in case.
I've been watching a lot of Lost in the Woods ones lately too.
That one might end it. It's rough, man.
That's another good story. When I was 14, I went home on summer break to work at the summer camp in Ohio, where my parents met. My mom ran it, so I went to go work. And on we'd have like a day or two sometimes between the sessions, So we drove into town and we saw Blair Witch, and we were literally in the woods all the time, in tents with like a flashlight, in caves. And I was like, we were all just kind of like, that was not the movie to see when you're working at a summer camp for 3 months. That shit was scary.
Yeah, straight up. I don't know if it was anything that was true or not, but I had heard when the movie was being released, like in theaters, that they were having like theater workers come out and say, for respect of the family, this is actually true events. Please don't throw popcorn or be disrespectful by any means. And I remember hearing that. My sister, I think, was actually telling me about that. And I don't know if she was saying that they did that. I don't think it was at our theater, but friends were telling her, and it was like, whoa. So for the longest time, I thought the fucking movie was real. It wasn't like, if internet was a thing, I didn't have access to it at the time. So it's like, this shit's fucking real and they have it in the theater. Sometimes the pitch is everything that you need, man. The Exorcist, same thing. Shit.
Yeah, that's crazy.
All right, moving on here, digging into some more music here really quick. I wanted to dig into some All Human before we're wrapping here. So as far as the idea of the new project, what kind of went into the foundation of transitioning? You've had Orbs, you've had Fear before. What went into this new project that maybe you hadn't brought to the table before musically?
Honestly, before we disbanded, we had, I think, 15 completed songs. Vocals on maybe one of them. No, vocals on a couple of them. But when we disbanded, I took just a couple of the songs that I had written that were more on the chill side, like Utah. That was going to be a Fear Before song.
Damn, okay.
The Appendage Envy was supposed to be a Fear Before song. And those two, I'd written by myself. So I was just like, well, I like these two. And then it went from there. I wanted to get into some more chill stuff. I wanted to expand on the programming and electronics. And the first one was fun. We got to do a 10-day tour, but nothing came of it. And then the second one took me about 5 years to finish. I really thought it was never going to light a day, and then we made it happen. And that and Always Open Mouth are probably my two favorites. But it's typically just me in a room by myself writing, and then Brian does drums.
Mhm.
You know, I'll write some of the bass parts, but I don't play bass on the records. Um, and like I write the piano, but I get someone else to play it. However, on the new one, I have two dudes working with me. So they're doing a little bit of writing too. And of course, Brian's doing drums. Well, he already finished drums and bass for the record. We just have
Oh,
to
damn.
our end. It's all written. It's actually going to be called Horror Porn and the Eviscerating Climax.
Whoa.
Yeah.
That fucking rules.
Yeah. I mean, it
Jesus Christ.
conjures
Can't
up
wait for that
imagery.
cover art.
Yeah, right? Yeah.
Damn, that's sick. Holy shit. Okay. Is there anything as far as I know you're still in the process. Are you looking for like a certain time that you're trying to release it by, or is it just kind of organically like making it what you're looking for?
I mean, we were almost there with it, and then COVID. And so, like, it just kind of screwed everything. And I moved kind of far from where I'm recording. And I was, like, quarantined, and then I had to work a lot to make up for losing a full-time job. So we just haven't really got back at it. But it's all there, and, like, I have some pretty, like, good friends who are in bigger bands that, like, John from Portugal might sing on it. Tommy from Between the Buried, and a few others like Mark from Bear vs.
Whoa!
It's a really cool record, and it actually goes back to be a little more aggressive. Not quite as aggressive as Fear Before, but it's definitely more aggressive than the last one. So
damn, that is sick, man. I can't wait. That's awesome. And you know, mentioning too one thing. I don't know if it was in that podcast or if it was another interview or something, but you were mentioning recording some of this stuff, if not all the stuff, in your laundry room. Is that right, or am I getting that wrong?
Yeah, on Teenagers, You Don't Have to Die, I did all the vocals and guitar in my laundry room that I soundproofed, because that's where we did. That's where we did vocals for the last Orbs record too. So Dan just let me keep the soundproof blankets, and I just did all of Teenagers.
Oh shit!
Yeah, and then they did drums and bass and piano in New Jersey. So
damn, that sounds great. Shit.
Yeah, yeah, it was. I mean, I literally would just, the days I didn't work, just be in there all day, and I could do whatever I wanted. I could do it over 1,000 times to make sure I liked it, you know. So it was cool.
Did you have different things that you kind of had to like? Not discover but learn as far as with recording with that, or has that been kind of a process that you've been involved in for quite a while, where it was pretty much the same process, just different music?
No, I guess
like programs, I guess, or like different things, in that sense, or equipment.
I kind of learned Pro Tools when I was when we were recording Fear Before. I even ran a couple sessions when Casey was out on date night, and so I definitely had to call a couple of my friends multiple times, like, why isn't this working? Why is this doing this? But I kind of just learned as I went. I learned that my upstairs neighbors are assholes that don't like my music. So yeah, I had to pick certain times when I could like be loud, but yeah.
Oh God! I mean, I just, for some reason, you saying that, it just made me like picture them being upstairs looking down at you and be like, "Boy, I've learned that my downstairs neighbor is a fucking asshole."
Right. One time they were fighting. They were so loud and rude and mean. One time they were fighting, and I could hear it because the window was open, and I just went to the window and yelled as loud as I could. I went, "Hi!" And it got dead quiet up there for about 30 seconds. And then I saw him leave out the separate doors and like leave.
Damn, you should have just recorded it. Look, I'm gonna make money off of this shit. You can go ahead and keep fucking yelling. I need this. My voice is tired. Oh shit. Okay. So you mentioned like Pro Tools. Then did you have anything like what guitars are you using on this bad boy?
On
this newest record.
Well, Max, the dude who's playing or helping me with some of the guitar and recording it, he has like a bunch of guitars. I right now just have my Rickenbacker, and then I recently acquired my silver sparkly Epiphone Les Paul that I had sold when I was basically when Fear Before started, because it wasn't cool in a post-hardcore band. But I recently bought it back from the person, like,
Oh man.
later. And I love it now. I think it is cool. Like, if All Human plays, I'm gonna play that one. You know?
Yeah, for sure.
You can make anything sound great with a good amp. I've played a lot of different guitars, but yeah, I just have those two. But Max has probably, I think he has like 4 or 5 guitars, a couple acoustics. So we'll just mix it up. Yeah.
Okay. Like a little bit of an arsenal to it, different attack with shit.
Mm-hmm.
Sweet.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Is there any idea as far as oh no, I guess because you're still doing guitars and everything like that. All right, fuck that. I wanted to touch on it with teenagers really quick as far as Richard Beckman's cover art and tell us about like initially seeing that bad boy and how was there an inspiration or direction given for what we ended up getting?
So how do I say this without revealing? Back in the day when Fear Before was touring, this man we referred to as Shitty Batman would sometimes come out shirtless with scruffy beard, a cigarette hanging in his mouth, and drunk as hell. He'd go into Taco Bell like that. He showed up on stage with our friends band once. Now, I don't know who the man is under Shitty Batman. We just knew we wanted to capture his image for the cover part. So, I can't say who's under the mask. But yes, I don't know. I honestly don't know why. I remember I came up with the idea, and Richie's like, "Yeah, let's shoot it," and I'll kind of draw it out. And yeah, I can tell you where Teenagers Don't Have to Die came from. I do not like weed, and I learned that the hard way. But one night, I had like a bottle of wine with me, and I like smoked a little weed. I don't even know where the weed came from because I hate weed. But for whatever reason, it was a night off. I got in bed and I watched Shark Night. I don't know if you've seen it. And I woke up to this audio recording, like his audio recording on my phone, and I was like, "What the fuck is this?" And I just pressed play, and it's just raspy ass, you definitely smoked voice, and it's just, "Teenagers, you don't have to die." And I was like, "What the fuck? I must have been high." Like, why did I record that on my phone? And so that's the actual audio you hear at the beginning of the record.
Holy shit! No way.
Yeah, I don't know.
Whoa.
Yeah, and so the whole record kind of just formed after that. Where Shitty Batman plays in, I could not remember. Maybe I was high when I thought of that. But yeah,
I was gonna say, I always thought, ever since I've seen it, I always thought it was a nice police sketch, for like, have you seen this man? He's fucking terrorizing your city, coming to a city near you. I love that. Oh shit,
it was
that is
fun
fucking
too.
hilarious.
It was fun too because when I was selling on vinyl, some people asked me to draw on it. I was like, "Are you sure?" So I went to the store and got a bunch of different colored Sharpies, and it was a perfect canvas to make like funny stuff on. So
yeah, that is awesome. Those aren't still available on the Bandcamp, are they? Those are all sold out.
We sold all of them. Yeah.
Sick. Yeah, that rules.
We pressed them not physically, but like we didn't have label support or anything. We just made it happen.
Damn.
Yeah.
How many ended up getting pressed? Do you remember?
I think it was only like 200, 250 maybe.
Shit. All right. Yeah. Any of you rat bastards that have one, don't be fucking selling them on eBay. You know what I'm saying? Shit. You gotta appreciate that shit. Yeah. Oh damn. Well, that's awesome. I have absolutely loved this stuff. I might have to have you on at some point to do a far dig into Fear Before, because it's been one of my favorite bands since forever, man. But this has been absolutely amazing. I do have one finale question here, but if you want to let everybody know, what kind of, it might be in the works here if you have other things going on with different projects, anything like that. This is your opportunity, my man.
Right now, I just want to finish horror porn in the eviscerating climax. Like I said, it's different again. I think fans of Fear Before will probably enjoy this one even a little more, just because, like I said, it is a little rowdier. I definitely am doing some songs where I yell and stuff. But yeah, just really trying to get that done once I can. I can't wait. Yeah, it's been too long. It's like another 5 year of trying to get something done, but that's just kind of what happens when you're doing it by yourself. So, but yeah, that's really
totally.
it for now.
Okay.
So something else random popped up. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Anything as far as playing live? Do you have anything like with other bands you're filling in with or anything?
Nah, not as of right now. And I I can't do solo shows. It makes me too nervous. It's not my thing. But yeah, no, that's pretty much it.
Sweet. All right. Well, digging into some of these interests here, I wanted to, kind of pick your brain a little bit here and ask, something hypothetical for our finale here. And I wanted to ask, if you had the opportunity, you could score a horror movie, and in this movie, you could score this bad boy, and you could choose the lead actor, the lead actress, and the director. Who would you want to work with for this?
Oh my gosh, that's such a hard one. Okay, I'd have to say John Carpenter. Because not only would he be directing, he scores some of his, I think all of his.
Yeah.
So he'd have like a say.
A lot of them, yeah, for sure.
Lead actor. I'm going to out myself on my celebrity crush. Probably Michael B. Jordan. Because I don't think I've seen him in a horror movie. Yeah.
Okay.
Actress.
He's done a lot of great shit. I can't imagine he'd be bad.
Yeah, I love Michael B. Jordan. Or Lakeith Stanfield. Can I have two?
Hell yeah.
I love that dude's work. And he seems really weird, like, on his Instagram, so I feel like he could bring a certain...
yeah, perfect fit.
Who's a good, like, who would be a good screamer as an actress? Oh, it's a hard one. Oh, trying to think. Can we fit Margot Martindale in there somehow? She's amazing.
I don't know if I know who that is.
She's like an older woman, but she was in, God, now I won't be able to think of any of her movies. But she's really funny. She's played herself in BoJack Horseman. And now I can't think of any of her movies.
Oh, really?
I would just like to see how she
I know that show.
in. It'd be an interesting cast mix-up. But yeah.
I mean, that's sick. That's the beauty in this, man. It's just right off the top of your head and something that comes to mind. And I'll have to look her up. And when I go to edit this, I'll have her face pop up so we can all enjoy right then and there. We're like, oh shit, okay, there it is.
She would.
I dig that.
I bet you she could play real creepy well. So
someone said the cat lady. I don't know what that means. Is she a cat lady in something?
I don't know.
All I'm thinking of is the bird lady from Home Alone, but I don't think that would be her. She's kind of creepy shit.
Yeah.
Well, either way, this has been absolutely awesome. Thank you very, very much for the time here today. This has been so sick, man, and I'm super excited for the new stuff, new material, and anything else that's coming out, and it might be on the Verizon, the horizons there, my man. I really appreciate the time, though. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I appreciate it. I thought,
totally.
Speaking of being spooked, when this first started and those little, like, hearts go by, I thought something was on the back of my wall, because it's a white wall, and I've never done this before, so I was like, what is that? Is there a ghost on my wall? And I was like, oh, there's little tiny hearts. But,
yeah. There's been different times where people get into shenanigans and they start saying fucking nasty shit at the bottom, and I have to like turn off the comments or like the hearts. So I appreciate people being cool too, because that's always kind of interesting when you have somebody on and somebody's just being a fucking asshole. It's like, okay, let's cut that.
Yeah.
So. All right, cool. Man. Well, hopefully I'll be having you back on here, and we'll keep in touch. And once again, thank you very much, and stay safe and stay healthy, my man.
Cool. Thank you. You too, and thanks to everyone that tuned in. Awesome.
Yep, for sure. I'll have this on YouTube. It'll be edited probably within like the next couple of weeks here. I'll post
Okay.
up like a link on here and everything too, so it won't,
Awesome.
be lost in all this shit too. So,
Cool.
all right, my man.
Sounds good.
Thank you very much.
Off to work.
See ya. Yeah, right. Bye.
He's a lo-fi horror guy. Yeah, he's kind of a guy, but he is so lo-fi, a horror guy. Yeah. Lo-fi horror guy has been recorded in front of a live studio audience.